Speaking of like a bag of like candy, one of our neighbors, they just leave out candy for you to, well, you know, kind of help yourself or whatever. But they're also the neighbors that make their own, not candy, but they like make their own bags, like the little mini bags, and they put like the little ties on it and stuff, which just got, so you just go in and you get one of those bags and it's got like, you know, 5 little things in it or whatever. But they had like 3 buckets of it. That you could just go up to and you can just grab it. And we were just like, man, they put out so much candy. And then Michelle went and grabbed one of the bags and realized that the bags are just like 4 times bigger than we thought they were going to be, because she like pulled it out and we realized, oh, it's not there's like 20 bags in each of these buckets. There's like 5. And she just got like, and so she pulled it out, and it was the funniest moment of the night for me, because I just looked over at Melissa and both of us were just like, whoa. That was like, that's okay. That's a lot of candy. And then it's Michelle, so she's just like, and I'm gonna get one for Junior, I'm gonna get one for Rose, and we're like, okay. And at that point we were like, I think we're done trick or treating. Like, we could probably
shop. That was enough.
It was like house. Yeah, exactly. It was like house 3. All right, this was a great year, guys. And it's just like, no more houses. How was everybody's Halloween?
Cold and wet.
I'm gonna have you beat there, I think.
It was snowing here. It was snowing here yesterday afternoon, but it didn't stick.
Did your stick, Hannah? Like, did it stay on the ground?
Oh yeah, there's a chance. It's been snowing since like Friday, so I think we had like one day without it snowing. So I don't know. Maybe it'll melt in November and then come back or something. But yeah, we're just here with snow. So it was a really beautiful Halloween last year. And this year we're like, okay, how many layers can we fit under your costume? How many layers can we fit over your costume? Are you willing to wear a toque under that mask? Or what, can you put mitts over your costume? And all those questions. And we made it out, and we did our street, and it was freezing, and we got lots of candy, and I think the kids had fun.
Because this was the first, like, it was like 2 degrees or like 3 degrees here. Like, it was like cold. Like, and this was the first time where we were like, okay, so we have to like layer them, but they all have, you know, the twins are 2 years old, so they've got no concept about what you're about to go and do with them. So they're just like, why am I being dressed up as this ridiculous, that, you know, why am I wearing this and stuff? But then you're also asking them to like wear, like Junior wore like basically snow pants and a snowsuit, not a snowsuit, but like a winter jacket. And then we put the costume over it, but the costume doesn't cover cover like most of the jacket, so it's just like him wearing a jacket with like his costume over top of it. And I was just like, Canadian Halloween.
It can be a beautiful sunny day, or there can be snow. It's a toss-up every year. I was just gonna say, we should go. What did everybody wear? What were the costumes?
The kid was Mario, specifically Super Mario Odyssey.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That one movie. We also had to layer our costume.
Do you guys dress up with him, or do you guys just go with?
I am. We're not big. Like, as a kid, I loved Halloween, but like, what kid doesn't love Halloween? But as an adult, I could take it or leave it.
Fair enough.
He goes. He has fun. That's great. We don't dress up.
Fun.
I have a pair of cat ears that I'll put on if I think of it. But that's about it.
Melissa does the same thing. She just wears she has like a little tiara that she puts on that is like, and she's just like, I'm the queen of Halloween. And it's just like, I was like, I'm always like, Melissa, we have like 4 decorations outside, and like we carved 2 of our pumpkins. Like,
you had a lot of pumpkins too.
We did, yeah, but it was just like, we're not. Yeah, well, I also wanted to carve pumpkins with Melissa while she was here, and we only had one morning in order to be able to do it. And when I said that, like, hey, we waited, like, you know, we're gonna do, like, we can do it. She's just like, I'm not carving 6 pumpkins, and I'm like, fair. Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's fair. I wouldn't want to carve 6 pumpkins either, because I don't particularly. I will obviously carve pumpkins with my kids and stuff. I don't like carving pumpkins. Like, it's not. I don't hate it, but I don't like. I don't like any part of it. There's no part of it that I'm just like, oh, but I like designing something. Nah. Oh, I like cutting it. Nah. And it's always just a face with a lopsided. It's got one tooth, and it's awful. But I wore. What is it when you go to vacation? Allay, that's it. I wore one of those. It was a dad on vacation. Kids though. Michelle was Anna this year because last year she was Elsa, so she wore her Anna dress with a toque and she had a sweater underneath, so the hood was sticking out.
Yep.
Rose got the Yoda costume, and she was packed with so much stuff underneath, like the she's so puffed up with like her snowsuit, not snowsuit, but her snow jacket and like the snow pants and stuff underneath. She was walking as if like she can barely walk, but she is Rose, and she's got the personality of just like, I'll get there, like it's fine. Yeah, let's go do another house. Like she's perfectly fine to just like stroll down the thing, and she's having a great time, and she's like, yeah, but she's like just like walking, barely bending her knees and stuff. And then Junior was he was a butterfly. He wore like a butterfly dress. He's been really into like dresses and like wearing dresses and stuff, and he wanted to. Junior loves this dress that Michelle had, which I guess now would be something like a skirt on her because it's like she's outgrown it. But anyways, it's like this dress that it's like this butterfly dress. He didn't wear the wings that you can put onto it, but he's just been into wearing these dresses, and it was great. But it was definitely like a dress that you basically just see his jacket for like most of him. So it's like it is like this like half costume thing, but he loved it. He thought it was great, and he had like a great time. And he they all did really, really well. We did the entire street with all three of them, and then and then my mother-in-law, Melissa's mother, surprised us, and she came down like fully dressed in a costume.
Amazing.
And like walked with the three of us, or sorry, the five of us walked with the three of them for like a couple of houses, and then her and Melissa took Michelle out to do like another street, and then they went and they did like a few more houses on another street, and then Michelle said that she was done, and then she came home, but that's what they dressed up as. So, and Hannah, what did
that's awesome. So Elle was Spider-Man. And so I went as, I think it's called Ghost Spidey or Ghost something. I don't know, the white Spider-Man from Spidey Kids. And then R was the Hulk. And Corey was going to be regular Batman. But then last minute, which I'll get into this later, switched to Princess Batman, which was a lot of fun. And yeah, we all had so many layers on. At least it just worked for the Hulk. He just got puffier and puffier, being super muscly. And the masks lasted at least half of it. So you could still tell what the costumes were, because Elle had to have a full jacket over top. We did sweatpants and splash pants under the legs, but their costumes are so tight. So we could fit everything underneath, but Elle had to have a full jacket over top. But you can still see the legs, and if the mask was on, people could tell that he was Spider-Man. So it was good. And it was like, we did our street, we did all the neighbors that we know, and we did have another neighbor join us, and it was their first trick-or-treating Halloween. Their daughter just turned 1, and so she joined us, which was really nice. So they like trick-or-treated at our house, and then we went to a couple houses together. So it was really nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
Sounds like everybody had a nice time. We were out for a solid 2 hours.
Nice.
It was
exhausting.
We went, oh my God. By the end, I was so cold and so sore and just, 2 hours. They went, and he still wasn't satisfied. He was like, let's keep going. And I'm like, no, there's nowhere else to go.
What time do you guys go out trick-or-treating? Like, what time do you start?
We started at 6.
That's a good time. That's the time we went out. Yeah.
2-year-olds.
Yeah.
So like, we were like, was a discussion, was not a debate or an argument, was a discussion, because I felt that we were going out too early. But like, I don't know when the etiquette is. That I actually Googled it, and I was just like, when's the etiquette? And it's like, it all has to do with like when the sun sets. It's like 20 minutes before the sun sets is like when it's usually like you can start expecting the younger kids to like come out. And I was like, okay, so we like, because it takes forever for us to get ready for anything, we were like we just got out and we started trick-or-treating at like, it was like 5:40 or something. And it was like, and sunset's like at 6:05 or something like that. So I was just like, all right. We're okay. But Melissa was just like, it's like 5:30. We got to go. And I was just like, I think this is too early. Like, this is like, this
I
is
think anywhere between like 5 and like 9 o'clock is fair game.
I think 5:30 for me. I think 5:30. I think
5 is way too early.
I think, the only reason I think 5 is too early is because if people work until 5,
yeah,
you got to give them time to get home.
Yeah, I was curious to see when you guys. So 6 o'clock works. 6 o'clock. I would like to. That would be my thing. Is like 5:45, 6 o'clock is like when you start, and then you get to start later and later as you get older. Like, you know, when you're
and go longer.
Exactly. Yeah. Then you go where you start seeing the lights get turned off, and you're like, oh, we missed that house. Let's go somewhere else because now people
they start running out of candy.
Exactly. So like that's kind of when you want to do that.
So I think about it from like my mom and dad's point of view, and my mom has always loved trick-or-treaters, and like they like tally how many kids they get because they often get like hundreds of kids, and like it's a big thing and they have so much fun. And so my mom would hate to like miss out on people coming to her, so I think of it kind of in that way, so that I don't want because Halloween's for everybody. Like, yeah, it's definitely for the kids, but I know that there are a lot of houses that also enjoy the kids coming to them, especially like, and we have some elderly neighbors and stuff, and I know they just love to see the kids, and I want to make sure that there's people that have the opportunity to see them too. So that's where I was like, between 5:30 and 6 for us is kind of when we go out, so that people don't miss us and we don't miss them. And
yeah, it's not about you so much as you want them to see the kids, and you want the kids to see, like, we were thinking about it in this similarly, in the sense that like there are specific houses that we know we have to go to because they know us, that like we want to show them, like, you know, hey, especially the twins, right? Like, because we know that like Michelle's gonna go and do more, which she did do more. She went to a street that like nobody's going to know us on. Like, it was the next street over. Like, it was, you know, we don't know people that, and I have something to say about, you know, you get to meet your neighbors and stuff in just a second. But the twins, it was definitely like, there's like 5 houses that I want them to go to, because then it's like they get to go, oh my gosh, like it's them, like, you know, and you get to see
they're
that, and
so
that's kind of
grown up, and
yeah, exactly, because it's like, especially some of these neighbors, it's like they met them when they were like, you know, 2 months old or a month old or something like that, like, or they saw them, like, you know, us getting into a car and stuff, and oh my goodness, to then for them to just be like, well, now they're trick-or-treating and on their own they're walking around and stuff, like, that's pretty. So it's nice. It's a weird flip to go from the kid that go from a child or a kid or a teenager, if you went trick-or-treating in your teens or whatever, but like to go as a trick-or-treater and now be a parent, and to be like, it's not about me, and I don't even know how much it is right now about the kids. It's like, it's about my neighbors. It's about my neighbors. Yeah. See, they're somehow the spotlight now of just like, you want to show them up. Yes, we did dress the kids. Yes, we are participating. Yes, we are parenting. Please give us a gold star. And that's all I'm going for, is just,
and also some candy if you
can you load up on the candy, because I live on this street and I know we're not going to get very many kids. Can you just like load up, because I'm really hungry. So.
The first thing that he did when we got home was dumped it all out on the floor and then sorted it by type.
Nice.
Oh, so he's at that age. I remember doing that, where you're just like with my brother and I, and just being like, okay, and you got to organize it, and you got to, I don't want this stuff, and then you can do the trades and like this sort of stuff. But
you trade.
But it's all about like just sorting them so you know how much that you have, because I know for me, I mean, I've said this last week, whatever, is that, you know, I love Reese's, so it's just like I need to know how many Reese's I got, or how many M&Ms I got, so
you can ration them.
I can't eat them all in one night, and then I'm gonna find out I hate them all. No, and then it's just the worst. Yeah, you got to do that.
Yeah, those are my kids. Like, we got home, we did the dump on the coffee table, and they're like trying to rip into everything. We're, okay, guys, we just have to do safety checks first. We're like, before you open anything, give it to us. We'll like check it, and then we safety checked it all, and then we said, have at it. They could eat whatever they wanted, as much as they wanted. I don't know what you guys do, but that's what we did. We're like, you have until this time, because we do have to go to bed eventually.
Yeah.
But what ones do you want to try, and which ones do you want to save? And R actually ate a bunch of it. Elle opened up like 15 different things, and he had one bite of everything. So then we got a community bowl, and we're like, this is what mom and dad are eating when you go to bed. It's full of Smarties and the Swedish berries and half of a Rice Krispie and all the things.
When I got up and I was getting them breakfast this morning, and I was going to the table, I saw that there was like a half-eaten like coffee crisp like bar like underneath, and I had two thoughts in my head, and I was just like, one, who just bites into half a coffee crisp and then throws it on the ground? I was like, well, a 2-year-old or even a almost 5-year-old. Like it's probably that.
Could be anyone.
But two, I was just like, oh. So one of them's into coffee crisp because I really like coffee crisp. I was like, this is great. Like, this is wonderful. And then like 5 minutes later, I went, oh, it was me. I'm the one that bit into the coffee crisp. It was me. And I forgot to put it. That's right. And I dropped it and I never picked it up because then somebody asked something from me and did that. So none of my kids like coffee crisp. Anyways, but I get to eat all the coffee crisp. So it's
there
really,
you go. There you go.
Yeah,
that's okay. That's a good thing.
It's a thing.
Silver lining.
I love the houses that go all out. I'm not one of those people, not yet. Maybe one day I'll be one of those people. But like the like super decked out houses that are super cool. And our friend sent us a picture of one on her street, and it was like a Barbie haunted house, but the whole yard was decked out. But
there's a house around the corner that like completely like it's wild. Like it's the entire, like, you know, when you see those, like, I mean, I'm sure you see it on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, like for Halloween as well, but I just see them more for like Christmas, of just people like completely decking out their houses and their lawns and everything with all the lights and stuff. It's like this person does the same thing except it's for Halloween, and it's just like, I'm just like, all I look at that and I was just like, I don't even look at it and I go, my God, like how much money is all that? I look at that and I just go, where do you store all this?
Where do you store?
Where is this all going? Like, where do you put this? Like, is that just what your attic is? Because if that's and that's the thing, right? Is that like Halloween for a lot of them is like the holiday, like it's like the celebration thing, like it's
like a whole month.
It's like a whole month for that. It's, you know, it's just, we were talking about Hannah Corey watches as many scary movies as possible.
Right.
I have friends that like that's what they try to do, and it's like a competition. Like it's like, you know, there's people that it becomes like their wardrobe changes, and it's not just because of fall, it's just because they're celebrating Halloween. They've got like, it's all of these things that like this, for some people, like this is like the thing of the year. And Christmas, they're just like, like, or like whatever yes. other thing is because I know Christmas generally is the one that people put in the most time into, and it's the biggest and stuff of the year, if you celebrate it. But it's like Halloween for some people is just like huge, and it's just never been like, I've always celebrated it when I was younger, like, and I've been, as I've gotten older, before I had kids, it's like I'd go to Halloween parties and I dress up and stuff, but it's like it's not like the major thing of the year. But for some people, it's just like, this is it. That was it yesterday. That was their big night, is just
I think they have storage lockers. I think they have to. I truly, I think they have to.
That's like the answer.
There's a house near me. It's like too far to go trick-or-treating at, but it's like they have a corner lot, and every inch of that corner lot and the front of their house, Halloween decorations.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a good, like, 4 weeks of it. And then they will take it down and replace it with Christmas decorations.
There you go.
In like a week. Maybe less than a week. But it is just as big for Christmas as it is for Halloween. And exactly the same question. I remember the first year that we lived here and I saw it, I was like, where are you putting that all?
Yeah, where's it all
Where is that all going?
I mean, if they can afford,
is it your whole basement?
If they can afford to buy all that stuff, they can afford a storage locker. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you might be right. It might be, that's for...
But a storage locker is like ongoing. Like, you have to pay the rent.
Yeah.
But like, you only have to buy those decorations once.
But it's the commitment to it, right? I mean, maybe they just don't have, like, maybe they have entire bedrooms dedicated to, like...
It's true. It is a big house.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, if it's a big house, then they probably have a lot of storage.
Still. It's a lot.
Garage space, shed space, I don't have the time or motivation right now. It's not my thing. But I do appreciate the people that do, because it is something for me to look at, and it's fun, and it's like...
Absolutely.
Yeah, like I'm glad that somebody else is doing it.
Yeah,
so that we can appreciate it. It's not on us. So, so I'm going to ask you guys some questions, but it might get a little bit heavy. So, but first I'll ask with... how many how many different times did your kids dress up? Like, was it just Halloween, or were there like Halloween parties at school or a dress up day at school, stuff like that?
Just the one day.
And did they dress up? Did the kid dress up at school too?
Yeah. He wore his costume to school.
So the whole
and it came back
Halloween day.
It came back dirty. It came back.
Yeah. He like tripped in the schoolyard or something. Oh man, his knees were all dirty. But like, we didn't notice till he went to put it back on to go out, and Sterling was like, "Oh, your costume's dirty," and he responded with, "Yeah, whatever."
Oh, he was okay with it? Okay, that's good. All right.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
Well, I said, like, if you're going to wear this to school, you need to be comfortable with it getting dirty and having to wear a dirty costume in the evening.
So your kid wore the costume all day. There was no other days no other costumes. Did he ask for any other costumes, or was it just like one and done?
Like 3 months ago, he wanted to be a pumpkin. But then, like, when it came down to it, he was like, "No, I'll just be Mario." And I'm like, "You can be something else."
Really throwing a curveball there.
He's like, "No, it's fine." Yeah.
I'd like to be a pumpkin.
Anyway, Brandon, did your kids all go to one school? So even if there was...
Yes, they all go to one school. I'll try to walk through this as fast as possible. They do their, like, Halloween parade the day before Halloween. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming so that nobody ruins their costume, falls in the mud.
It happens.
But they did it on the 30th, so they did it on the Monday first. And Michelle went as Elsa. She wore her Elsa dress on the Monday, and then the actual Halloween, she wore the Anna dress. But for Elsa, they wear it for like the first like hour of like the day. They do like their parade, and then they take it off for the rest of the day, because I think it's just too disruptive.
Yeah.
Rose was sick on Monday, so she did not get to participate in the Halloween parade, so she didn't get to go. But I dressed her up when she was home. I dressed her up in her skeleton pajamas, so she wore those all day. So she kind of, a little bit got to be a part of it. Michelle was very adamant that that's what we do. She's like, "Well, you can have your own parade here with like Rose, and you can like walk around." Yeah. And it's just like, we just don't have a costume for you. And I was like, "Don't worry." Don't worry about it. I'll put on somebody's shirt and we'll just say that I'm that person. And then Junior, I offered him a few different options, and he just did not want to wear a costume to school. He just was not into it. I did not offer him the butterfly dress because I completely just blanked and I just forgot that it was one of the options. It was a very frantic morning of me trying to, and I was alone. It was just me, so I was trying to do a bunch of things, and I knew that Rose was not going to be going to school, so I'm just trying to like figure all of that nonsense out or whatever. And I just didn't offer him probably the one that he would have worn to school if I would have offered him to that. So I felt bad about that after that I thought of it. But he has like a sweater that is like it's like when you flip up the hood, he looks like a bear. So I just said, "Would you like to wear your bear sweater?" And then he wore his bear sweater. And then I told the teachers, I was like, if you do anything with the costumes, he didn't want to wear anything today, not even his skeleton pajamas. So I said, if you just want to flip up the hood, he can be a bear. And they were like, "That's fine." Like, that's great. But yeah, he just wasn't.
I wouldn't beat yourself up about it, because he also didn't ask for it. It's not like he asked for it and then you were like, "Nope, you can't do that." Like,
you gave him the option.
Yeah, I know. I gave him options. He could have been a dragon. He could have been a skeleton. There was like something else. Anyways, it was just. I looked at it and I was just like, yeah, but I knew that he was into that. I knew he was going to wear that probably for Halloween, and I just, to go trick or treating, and I just didn't offer it to him. So it was what it was. I don't think he had any worse of a day.
No.
Not wearing a costume and stuff. He's 2. I don't think he's completely going to be heartbroken or whatever. The main thing was Michelle wearing her Elsa dress, and there was like 3 other Elsas, including one of the teachers was dressed up as Elsa. So she was really happy with that. So yeah, so that's what they did. So
nice. We had, it was quite complicated this year. Well, first of all, we went to like Witch's Wonderland, and so it was like in a theme park thing that you could go to, and we dressed up, so the kids got to wear their costumes to that. And so R was the Hulk and L was Spider-Man. That was a lot of fun. And then daycare has a Halloween party, and then so does school, but not on the same days. So we had
that would be too easy.
Daycare does the Halloween party on the Friday. I think they always try to do it on a Friday just so that it's like end of the week. Everything makes sure that it gets sent home. That way, like if anything gets wrecked, it's not like you're not scrambling to get a new costume, whatever. Like they try to do it, and then just so it's not on Halloween. So they both decided to wear princess costumes to daycare, and it was so much fun. They were both in purple. Ours was like kind of like a Jasmine type one. It had pants.
Like Jasmine, the character or the color?
Oh, the character.
The character. Okay. Well, I don't know. Hey,
no,
look.
You're right.
Hey, when it's fashion
purple.
stuff, you gotta really break it down for me. I got no idea what anything means. It's just so great. I know what. Okay, Jasmine for the character. Great.
They were both purple, and Elle was really excited to wear his princess dress, and so was R. They had a lot of fun. It was great, and then. And part of the reason for that, I told them they couldn't wear their costumes because they were really difficult to go pee in. So especially for Elle. So I was I am not putting you in this Spider-Man costume with like different zippers, like trying to get out of it when like, I'm like, no. So they picked different costumes, and we've got like a costume bucket. Like it wasn't like we went out and bought special costumes. It was just like they got to pick something else from our tickle trunk kind of thing. R had to take his off from daycare to go to kindergarten because it wasn't the Halloween party at kindergarten. And then on Halloween day was the party at kindergarten, which I think is normal at school, like at regular school. So no costume at daycare, and then at kindergarten he gets his costume on. And at school had a lot of restrictions. No masks, no no accessories, no costumes that promote violence. So I was kind of questioning the Hulk. Is it a villain or a hero, and is it promoting violence? And I was like, I don't know. I would have sent him in it, no problem. But he wasn't allowed to wear the mask. So R was like, I don't want to be the Hulk if I don't get to wear the mask. And I was like, okay, well, we have all these other options. Like you could have been a Ninja Turtle. We've got some of that. All these other things. And he was like, no, if I can't be the Hulk, I want to be my princess. And I said, okay, that's fine. You can be a princess. And daycare and school are just, they're different, right? Like there's less supervision. There's more things that happen. It's just very different. Not that he's not supervised at school. And so he came home, and I'm going to cry because I was heartbroken. But he came home. It was so sad.
It's all right. Take your time. It's all right.
And of course, he decides to tell me when I'm picking him up from daycare. And so there's all these kids running around. I'm doing my best to, sit and listen to what he has to say. And he said that a kid, while he was getting his costume on, came up to him and said, well, that's a princess dress. That's for girls, not for boys. Yeah. And his teacher, we did talk to her briefly about it. And she said, anybody can wear any costume they want. Doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl. People get to choose what they want to do. And but then what R told me that was really hard was that this kid at school went and told all of the other kids.
Yeah, that's tough.
And so it was hard. Yeah. I think more for me. They're 5. And it's, soul crushing that he's already had to have somebody say, that's for girls, not for boys. And when really nothing has a gender and it's just a costume. And even if it wasn't just a costume, he's allowed to wear whatever he wants.
It's really tough because I've I try not to get into rage mode, but it's really difficult because it's like I know they're younger, and I know it's like you can just let kids off the hook with that if you want to, but it's also like it's coming from somewhere and there's like something that's really built in there that's not good when it's like, well, then I'm going to go and tell all the other kids and make it about making fun of somebody for wearing something like that.
Yeah.
When, and you know, I'm not asking for kids these age that age to understand this entire concept on this level, but it's like, for a minute, it's like Halloween is also like, it's all about dressing up in whatever. Like, it's like,
isn't that the whole point?
Point is the fact that you get to dress up in whatever you want to do. I'm sorry, Hannah, I'm going to break it to you, but like, R is also not the Hulk. And it's like, he's not gonna, he's not also going to be able to, like, you know, that costume's not for you. You're just a boy. You're not a Hulk. Like, it's like, it's like, you know what I mean? And it's just like, that to me is like, nobody says that. But when it's a dress, it's like, of course, then people are going to say some stuff. And it's just really difficult when the whole concept of it is just like, you're just supposed to be dressing up as whatever. Like, it doesn't matter what you're dressing up as. So,
and it also is like, you know, maybe R does want to wear a dress or a skirt to school when it's not a costume day.
Absolutely.
And I really hope that this kid hasn't discouraged him. And, you know, Corey really killed it with the parenting because, you know, I struggled with it. Just like making sure that I say the right things to make him feel confident. And my kid is a really confident kid. So I didn't want to, you know, crush him. And I just said to him, like, I asked him, like, how does it make you feel? And he was like, I felt sad. And he told me, he said that kid was rude. And I was like, you're right, that was rude. I'm like, I don't know where you know that word, but
he just learned a very important life lesson.
Your kid is awesome, Hannah. That's wonderful. That kid is rude.
That was the first thing he said to me. I was like, yeah, that was a rude thing to say. And I said, well, what matters is how you feel in your dress. And if that made you feel good, then that's all that matters. And anybody can wear a dress. And then we came home and Corey had a talk with him. And Corey got more information, which makes sense because I was surrounded by 2-year-olds bringing me Elle's like mitts and stuff while we're like trying to pack up from daycare. And so, you know, Corey kind of broke it down to him and said, you know, princesses are really cool. And it just sounds like this other kid just doesn't know how fun it is to be a princess. And I was like, yeah, that's an amazing way to, like, a great way to put it. And R was like, yeah, princesses are really fun. We had so much fun being a princess. And I was like, I'm so glad that Corey said that because I wouldn't have thought that. And like how to say something like that. And then R had a great night. And so that's why, so we were all supposed to be superheroes. And so that's why Corey ended up as a princess Batman, just to show R that anybody can be a princess, even Batman or even Daddy. And then our neighbor that joined us, he also wore an Anna cape, so it was like a princess cape. And he's like a large, like, macho works out guy. You know, he's a large man, and and like, you know, just to show give some solidarity. And I was like, I have really great neighbors. Like, this is really wonderful.
This is a great partner. That's really hitting it out of the park there with both, you know, not making it about, obviously he's not going to say that your son or his son like did anything wrong, obviously, because your son didn't do anything wrong. And that's, it's not that R did something that he wasn't supposed to do. It's that this other kid doesn't yet know how fun it is to do what R is doing, which is like also a way of not making the other kid be the villain, like, you know, is not like, it's also like, it's also kind of negating that, where it becomes now that the kid is like, just, well, you just know something right now that the other kid is eventually going to learn, that it's really cool to be a princess, and it's really cool to dress up as a princess and to wear a dress, and that it's okay if you want to do that, and it's okay if you don't want to do it. It's fine. Like, that's like really, that's high level navigation there by him. Yeah. So that's really good. I'm sorry that he had to go through that, and that's like,
Art kept the costume on all day too. Like, he wore it.
Oh, so good for him.
He had the confidence. He kept it on, and hopefully that shows him something. And the teacher also offered to, like, you know, sit down with both kids and see if they can, like, talk about it. And I was like, let's not do that. Like, R's good with this now. I don't want to, like, I don't want to embarrass him. I don't want to bring it up again. They are still really young, that, you know, hopefully that can just be kind of, you know, let's just move past it. We had a good talk. Art feels really good about it. And let's move on. But something else that really frustrated me is that all these rules, right, at school that they couldn't have, and they sent the class picture. One kid has this full helmet. You can't see any part of her face at all. And other kids had full masks on, small masks, all these things. And I was like, he could have been the Hulk. He could have gone with his mitts. He could have gone with his mask. And then he came home and he said to us, why wasn't I allowed to do that? All these other kids had these things.
Oh, jeez.
And we were like, I'm so sorry. Like, we were told that we weren't allowed to.
Mm-hmm. You were just following the rules.
And we were following the rules. And because we told him, like, we said, you can't wear this. They're going to take it away if you have this. And he goes, they didn't take it away from them. And I'm like, well, now now my kid just thinks I'm lying to him.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just like all these things.
Read the email. Read the email that I got.
Please learn to read so you can read this email.
That frustrates me to no end that there is no way of like policing that, because like what is the school supposed to do? Then just tell these kids that are in costume you cannot wear this costume? Like that, it also puts them into like this predicament where they're like, I'm putting it on the parents to make sure that you read this to know that this is what they cannot wear. Obviously, those parents either read it and were like, well, whatever, I'm not buying another costume for...
They probably didn't even read it.
Well, no, that's the other thing. Is
they saw that they were supposed to wear a costume and they didn't even read it.
The more thing that actually happened is probably the kid is that they didn't even read the email. They didn't read the notice or whatever, however it got sent to you. Mm-hmm. They didn't read it. They send the kids in whatever costume that they think... whatever, it's a costume. Who cares if they're wearing... I don't care. They're not even thinking about that. That's your costume. Just go into that. But it's now like this... It flings back onto the school of just going, so now do I just tell this kid they can't wear this costume, or they can't wear the helmet that goes to their Iron Man costume or whatever it is, like, and they can't do that? It's like a school is not going to do that because the school also knows it has to play the long game of making sure that the kid likes coming to school. Like, it's this whole thing of like, either I'm not blaming the school, I shouldn't say that, it's obviously on the parents' fault. They should be reading those emails and they should be doing it correctly the way that Hannah did it, and I'm sure many of the other kids do. They have to be responsible for that. They can't just like they can't do it, because this is the crap that then they have to they start up, is that they're not listening, and then they just send the kid in whatever it is, and then they're just like, well, whatever, what's the difference? Who cares? They can wear a mask. Like
well,
sorry,
and I will say,
I'm spiraling because it's such a frustrating.
Yeah, it is frustrating, and I will say, like, I was not there. I did not see the whole thing. I only saw a few pictures. So maybe the kids did not have their masks on, their helmets on for the day, but they were allowed to put them on for the picture. Like, maybe that was it. I just don't know. But it was still just like, it was just, it makes me a bad guy as a parent from school when, those other parents are the cool parents now because they let their kids do what they wanted or whatever. And then I know we don't want to get back, we don't have to get back into it, but it's just like, is your son going to get, is R going to get the same comments if he wears the Hulk that he did when he wears the dress? Like, it completely changes his day. It shouldn't. Right. It absolutely shouldn't. We know that it shouldn't change, but it's like... Well, no, it's just like, it comes back to the parents' like anxieties and worries all over again, right? Like, should I have just let my kid wear this? And like, maybe I shouldn't have let him wear a princess dress. But then I go back
you
and I'm like...
You absolutely should let him wear it, because the other kid is the kid that's in the wrong. Well, and if he went around and told... Sorry, I feel very strongly about, like, let your kid wear what what they want to wear.
Exactly.
That frustrates me so much. I was brought up to, like, wear what you want to wear and do not care what anybody else thinks, and to sit there as a parent and to think and to doubt yourself that you made the wrong choice by letting your kid wear the wrong outfit or the wrong costume or whatever. Like, you got to teach your kid to be stronger than that, to defy all those people who are like, oh, you're dressed wearing that, oh, you're wearing that stupid costume. Like, screw them. You made the right choice. You let your kid wear what they wanted to wear. You let them express themselves the way that they wanted to express themselves, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And you gotta teach them to be better than the person who thinks the least of it. and to believe in what they are and who they are more than anything.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, like, they've got nothing. Sorry. I know I've been sitting real quiet for the last few minutes listening, but I
appreciate that. Yeah. And it's,
Unfortunately, I'm sure it happens to many kids every year at Halloween and you know what? The truth is that probably a lot of kids, they want to dress up as a princess, and they probably have parents that don't let them dress up as princesses. Like, it is a tricky holiday for boys to like to do, because I don't know, and again, this might be tricky territory and stuff, but like, I don't know how, if a girl were to dress up as Iron Man, how much teasing does that happen compared to like
probably not much.
A boy dressing up as a princess. Like, it is a very difficult thing it's such a tricky thing to not navigate. It's just such a tricky thing to like have the ability to be able to say, no, wear what you want to wear. And anybody else that says that you can't wear that is wrong. And it's like, you're sending your kid into, you hope that you're not sending your kid into a fight or into an area that there is, but there is always that risk of doing it, unfortunately. And it's so sad that, like, it's so sad to have that anxiety. Of course, he didn't even wear it to school, and Junior wearing the butterfly dress around the court and going into the thing. I'm going, like, I would be lying if there wasn't like 1% of me at least that's just going, okay, but he's a boy in a dress. It's just like, is anybody gonna say anything? Like, obviously I don't care. Like, it's like, he should be able to wear whatever he wants, and he likes dresses, and he wears dresses around the house. He wears these costumes. He loves dressing up as Elsa or the butterfly stuff. But it's like, I do struggle with that anxiety of having like it in the back of my head, because I go, you shouldn't care. Stop caring. Like, just, he wears what he wears. He wears what he wears. Like, that's all it should be. But there is this built-in thing as a parent that you just kind of get a little nervous if you're just like, but I don't want, he's 2, he's not going to care, but your son is almost 5. It's just like, he knows, he comes home and he tells you about the whole thing. Like, he's going to remember this. And it's like, that sucks, man. Like, that's really tough. But
And I think what you're getting at, Brandon, is that, like, it doesn't matter to you and it doesn't matter to your kid. You're going to support them whatever way they want, but your worry is about your kid getting hurt.
Yeah.
And that's like every parent's worry.
I just worry about that, and it's just like, because I worry about there being a kid like the one that was in your was in ours class of saying those things. And again, it's just like, those kids are young. Like, I don't blame the kid, but it's the kid's in the wrong, as Lucy said. Well, it's just like, the kid shouldn't be saying that stuff. And you're just like,
But inevitably, in any field, in any situation, you're gonna find someone who is gonna say something like that.
Well, and I think,
regardless,
I think, Brandon, you maybe kind of touched on this too, is that, like, they don't know how good it is to be a princess, because they probably have never even had the opportunity. And this comes from, potentially, I don't know this kid, I don't know their parents, maybe this is nothing like them at home, but, maybe there's some toxic masculinity at home that's trickling down. Like, dad has some insecurities or mom has some insecurities, and it gets like, it's never been an option to wear a dress. It's never been an option to consider shopping on the girl side, which again drives me crazy. I went to buy a snowsuit, and we were at Carter's, and we're looking at all the different colors, and there's some purple and some pink, and then the lady comes up and she goes, yeah, and we have lots more in the boys section. And I said to her, I looked her dead in the eye and I said, it drives me crazy that there is a boys and a girls section. These are snowsuits. It does not matter what color my kid is in.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And he likes the purple one. He ended up getting one from the boys section, but I asked her, is there a difference in size? Because, like, I don't care what color it is as long as it's going to fit my kid. And then she goes, well, sometimes the girls ones are cinched. And I'm like, another problem. Why are you cinching girls' clothes? This is anyway, sorry.
Actually, it'll help keep the heat in. Well, but
actually,
they have
on
the
a
little thing
functional
on the
level,
inside.
on a functional level,
it makes sense. On a fashionable level,
yes.
Well, Lucy's just like,
it's the
I think that the back to like the Halloween thing and linking up with the whole art thing. We tried to carve pumpkins. It was a struggle.
Do you do it as a family?
Because We did yesterday. We don't normally do it because we don't have kids come. But yesterday, or last week, he was like, I want to carve pumpkins. We never carve pumpkins. And I'm like, great. So I bought some pumpkins. And then yesterday when he got home from school, I was like, okay, let's carve the pumpkins. And he was like, I had already cleaned them out because I knew he wouldn't want to do that because it's kind of gross, right?
Yeah.
Feels gross.
That's the only part my kids do.
So I cleaned out the pumpkins, and my dad was here. My dad was visiting yesterday. And when I was a kid, my dad was always like, that was his activity. It was like, we were going to carve the pumpkins. That was the thing that he did with us around Halloween. So I was like, maybe you can convince him to carve the pumpkins. Because, like, I didn't think the kid was going to want to do it, despite having said that he wanted to do it. So he sits down with my dad, and my dad's like, well, let's do this one. And my dad draws a face on it. And then half an hour of discussion about why the kid wouldn't carve wouldn't come up with a design for the pumpkin. And it was because he was putting like too much pressure on himself. Like he wanted it to be like the coolest pumpkin to ever pumpkin.
Right, your kid doesn't do things half-assed. He
was like, it's got to be cool and new and like a face that no one's ever seen before. And I'm like, that's a lot of pressure. Like you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself, man. It's just a jack-o'-lantern. You got to relax. So then he wound himself up so tightly about it. He was like, I'll just do it next year. And I'm like, no, the pumpkin's here. I've cleaned out the pumpkin. Just draw a face on the pumpkin and I will cut it out.
I'll do the carving. Yeah.
And he was like, no, I'll just do it next year. It's fine. And I'm like, great, I'll do it. And he's like, no, don't do it. I want to do it. I'm like, then do it. And he's like, no, I can't. And I'm like, here, look at all these faces that you can like just pick one and I'll do that. And he's like, no, it's got to be something cool that like no one's ever seen before, that like is brand new and fresh and exciting. And I was like, just pick one. Just make a decision and pick one. And eventually he's like, okay. So I give him the Sharpie and I'm like, draw whatever you want. Doesn't matter. Whatever you want on the pumpkin. I will cut it out. He's like, okay. So then he draws this huge pumpkin. It must have been like a 12-pound pumpkin. And he draws the tiniest face on it. Tiniest. And then I'm like, okay, that's great. And I'm like, and I get my knife and he's like, wait, no, it's not right. So then the tiny little eyes, he then draws huge eyes around the tiny little eyes. And they don't match, which is fine. And I actually think it gives it more character. But anyway, one's really big, one's really small. And then he draws this tiny, like he takes the tiny little mouth and he draws a huge mouth. And then he's like, okay, I'm done. I'm like, great. So I get the knife. And he's like, no, wait, I'm not done.
Wait. I'm not done. wait. Watch this.
And then he draws a medium-sized mouth on the pumpkin. And I'm like, okay, great. Are we done? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, great. So I go to cut it out. I cut out the eyes. And then I cut out like other eyes. And then I like put them in the eye sockets with like the toothpicks, right? Classic. And then I carve out the mouth. And I'm like, what do you think? Does it look good? And he looks at me and he goes, the mouth needs to be bigger.
How many revisions? He's definitely CEO worthy up here. He is like, let's get this. Oh, let's change this 15 times.
Oh my God.
And so I'm like, okay, I'll make the mouth bigger. So I cut out a little bit of the mouth. This is at the dining room table and he's in the living room, which is like the same room divided by a couch. Anyway, I say, what do you think? Is this good? Is it big enough? And he goes, did you do anything to it?
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, it doesn't look any bigger.
Wow. He sounds like James Cameron.
I'm like,
sounds like James Cameron. Look, do it right, and until it's that, I'm going to be over here. You call me when you've got this, because it doesn't look like you did anything.
Let me know when you're done. So I'm like, okay, so I got a little bit more out. I think I had to do it 4 times, and then on like the 4th time, I was like, now what do you think? And he was like, and he pointed to his mouth, and he was like, this side. And I was like, what do you mean? What? Like, can you be more specific? And he's like, you need to carve it over like a little bit more on this side. So he had to like shave off a little bit more. And then I'm like, now what do you think? And he goes, it's perfect.
Well done, Mommy. Well done.
Wow.
And it was the pumpkin in the picture that I posted yesterday on.
Nice.
And then I like roast the pumpkin seeds as well.
Oh, nice.
So,
we normally do. We didn't do it this year. We always do it, and they're really good. We eat it for like a day, and then they just sit there. So I decided just not worth it this year. But
yep. I don't know. They're so dry.
Jesus. They're so dry. I don't know if I...
They're like, I get it. I did it. I ate some last night, and then I was kind of like, oh,
we made them, but they're so dry. We have a bowl of uncooked ones just sitting on the counter, and I think Melissa and I are just in like a standoff on just like, you gonna cook them or am I supposed to cook them? Like, who's doing like? But nobody's saying.
Or are you gonna throw them out?
Nobody's saying any. Oh, that's what's gonna happen. It's just next week we're gonna be like, are we gonna cook these? And we're just gonna be like, and then we're just gonna dump them into the thing. Saved this bowl of pumpkin seeds that we're just never gonna end up using because it's just. I feel like we're gonna be like, yeah, but it's November now. I don't want to eat pumpkin seeds. It doesn't, you know.
Yeah, we're past this. Like, yeah.
If you enjoyed this episode, please rate, review, and subscribe. If you want to chat with us, slide into our DMs, leave a comment, or email us at thestayathomespodcast@gmail.com. Bye!